Listen to this, though. Sweeping legislation passed the State House in Texas last night, and it puts a serious deterrent in front of migrants. It prohibits legal entry and even the presence of illegal migrants in the state. This is very similar to an Arizona law that was found to be unconstitutional. There are worries it could lead to racial profiling, stopping people who look Hispanic and asking them to prove their citizenship. 30 immigration judges and the ACLU oppose that new Texas legislation. But what you're looking at is why those legislators passed that bill. The flood of migrants continues, and today the human struggle of those looking for a better life was on full display on the southern border, and only NewsNation was there to see it. NewsNation's Allie Bradley is live for us in Eagle Pass, Texas, where migrants have been crossing fast-moving waters all day long. Allie, you even saw a mother and baby trying to make it cross that river. How did it end?
Yeah, Elizabeth, that mother, just one of hundreds of migrants taking that dangerous plunge into the Rio Grande with the hopes of getting into the United States. We watched chaos unfold all morning, and it's happening every single day. Sweeping immigration legislation headed to Governor Abbott's desk for his signature. SB 4 will allow any local law enforcement to arrest people crossing into Texas illegally. But desperation is frequently much stronger than the threat of arrest. The human element on full display. We watched as an unconscious man was carried out of the water by a group of migrants. They worked to resuscitate him. Moments later, applause and an embrace, visibly relieved that he's okay. Another man rescued by Texas DPS and Florida Wildlife Commission officers. You see his lifeless body lying there in front of a toddler. They're yelling at the crowd to stay back. At one point, the little boy even raises his hand to signal stop. The officers work to revive him. Moments later, relief. He's okay.
He's standing right now. He's standing right now.
FWC officers have been deployed down to the southern border for months now. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis sent them here in support of Texas Governor Abbott's mission to secure the border. Those officers take the high ground in the mornings now to help signal the boat operators of people in distress or children coming across. Gut-wrenching moments as a mom nearly loses her baby in the swift Rio Grande. It's band together, drown, or go back at this point. They form a human chain as the rope isn't long enough. The first time they've used this tactic during the recent surge. One that became a problem as the rope was literally pulling them down. Texas DPS cuts the rope and pulls it back into the boat. Once the migrants are more than halfway through the river, they're technically in the United States, so Border Patrol has to respond to apprehend them. But they didn't. Instead, the migrants huddled along the riverbanks begging for water and dry clothes. Some needing even more. Texas DPS medics on scene. This 22-year-old woman from Venezuela tells me the bus she was riding in Mexico flipped over. She was trapped and as a result had to have her arm amputated and was left with third-degree burns to her face and body. Despite that, when I asked her if she regretted coming, she said no, it was still worth it. Now, Elizabeth, when it comes to the other about 200 migrants, the journey for them continues along the riverbank there, where about 2 hours later they linked up with Border Patrol. Border Patrol then brings them to a holding area where they're then transported for processing. Of course, most of that processing is under that Title 8 removal authority, which includes usually a notice to appear, which is in about 6 months to 6 years. Now, when it comes to the Florida Wildlife Commission, there's a lot of questions about whether or not they're going to be able to enforce SB 4, that sweeping legislation we were talking about. Well, they tell me that they will be able to because they have jurisdictional powers granted to them under Governor Greg Abbott to perform the same duties that Texas DPS will. Elizabeth.
All right, Allie, unbelievable images that you were there to see today in Eagle Pass, Texas. Thank you, Allie. Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.